Shalom Yasharallah, this your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and never will. And salutation and much love for you. I keep pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here lesson real quick. With as a little update, this is something that we always continuously go into. We'll call it the 1316 project, in the book of Revelations. But we're going to go into a word or two, and we're going to see, just how certain things are actually starting to play out. All right, now I have to be very careful in the wording of this here lesson. Just, follow along. If, you're the elect, you'll, spiritually discern what's being said here. Now, with, how do I put this? In their own words, right? You had a guy, who, how do I put this? There's a guy who has some influence in the computer industry. This is how we all know him and everything else like that, He wound up a while back, we did lessons on this as well, too, getting patents on certain things, And when you go into certain cocktails or whatever, all right, you find out that there's patents on these things, right? Now, when you go into these things, obviously if you have a patent, somebody owns the rights to that and everything else like that. This is, and then also on certain websites, they tell you about how certain things that they're trying to give you are an operating system. All right. And if you don't know what an operating system is, it's basically like you have cell phones, and on these cell phones, they have operating systems. Either you have an Android operating system or you have an Apple operating system, or in the computer world, you have a Windows operating system or you have iOS or Apple operating system. Right now, when you get into some of these potions that they're putting out, all right, they have, the same stuff in there, which is worded on their website. All right. So we're just, reading the information that they put out and relaying it to you and filtering it through the scriptures. All right. So now let's jump into the scriptures here. All right. This is Revelation chapter 13. We're going to start at verse 16. All right. This is not going to be too long of a lesson, but just to show you how, these things was prophesied from the beginning times. As a matter of fact, we're going to start there. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse, we'll start at the top. Habakkuk 2 and 1, it says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. All right. So, we were set up to be watchmen, all right, to give the people warning. All right. Let's go and grab that real quick. Ezekiel 3 and 17 says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word of my mouth and give them warning from me. All right. Now, it's not necessarily like the Most High is just speaking with the loud voice of, this is what this is, this is what that is. No, we have the scriptures. All right. We, when we, like the scriptures say, blessed is he that readeth, with all thy getting get understanding, and wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy time. So the Most High gave us these words, all right, and then also gave us the breakdowns and the understandings of these things, all right. And not only with that, when we see certain things out in the world, all right, we're able to discern how these things line up with the scriptures, all right. Throughout your regular everyday life and walk, you may be introduced to certain things to where, it comes into play to edify the elect with these things. All right. Maybe you be in a research on technology and certain things like that, let's say, for instance, me personally, I know that I don't have a desire to be thinking about war machines and technology and things like that. But for some odd reason, that, before I came into the truth, obviously, that the Most High had me looking into these things. And now when it, it's like planting a seed. But now when it's time for that seed to grow, it all makes sense. All right. But nevertheless, he gave us these here words to warn you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are the children of Israel, about these things that's coming down the pipeline. So with these things, like I said, he gave us, the spirit to look into certain things and to do research on certain things and to put these things together and to show you forth what these things are. Now, with that knowledge that he gave us, there's undeniable proof of this is what these things are. All right. Let's say, for instance, let's go back to Habakkuk real quick. Habakkuk 2 and 1, I will stand upon the watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me, what I shall answer when I am reproved. And Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables that he may run that readeth it. So as you know, for a prime example of this here lesson, you know, we're going to go into a lesson and read some scriptures that we read all the time. All right, but we're going to go into some words to which you can see, you know, see it from a biblical perspective. But like I started out this here lesson about, if you was to look into certain things and go back to some of our videos and things like that about, you know, certain patents that have, like, you know, 060606 and things like that, and what they're used for, and what, you know, all these different things, and you're starting to see how they're being implemented now. All right, beforehand, when they was DCs was first being planted, people, oh, that's a conspiracy, this is, I mean, not a conspiracy that it exists, but this is how they're going to use these things. But it's obvious, according to the scriptures, you know, putting these things together, that this is what this is. It's undeniable. All right, verse 3, it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. All right, again, when we were telling you about these things, some people may not have seen it, but it says, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. You know, in this point in time that we're living in right now, it's just like, look, you don't really have to even listen to us keep breaking these things down, because you can go on the news, and the news is pretty much telling you this is what this is now. You know, pretty much everybody's talking about these things, all right? So it says, but at the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry, all right? And so now this is the time where these things are starting to come off the page, and you're starting to see them in real time. Now let's go to Revelation 13 and 16, all right? It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that have the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. All right, which we'll get back into that. And here's wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Right? Now, we've already seen about how, not really touching on verse 16 and 17 too much about, you know, the buying and the selling and everything else like that, because, you know, we've made that plain and clear to you. All right, we've showed you how the different phases are going. Phase 1, you know, you had to basically cover your mouth, all right, if you can understand what I'm saying, in order to go into a lot of these stores. Now you have in certain places like up north, all right, where you have to have some type of proof that you're willing to play their games, all right, to be able to go inside of these stores, to be able to work inside these stores, to be able to shop inside these stores and things like that. All right, so as you can see, that something is being implemented. The whole world, all right, globally, all right, is being made to participate into these things. All right, and they're coming down, you know, swiftly with these mandates and things like that. All right, now, like I said, when I opened up with this here lesson about how they have certain patents created, all right, and put onto certain things that they're implementing right now, right? Not saying that that's what we're talking about here, but this is, you know, a step 2 out of 3, basically, before we get to that end goal, all right, if you're following what I'm saying, all right? You can do your research into these patents and things like that. Now, you have to understand, if I create something, let's just say, I'm going to give you an example. I created this new engine, right? Now, I don't have a car company where I design my own cars or nothing like that, but I done came up, I'm an engineer, created my own engine with this new technology, right? Now, I'm going to these car companies saying, hey, look, you can use my engine with this here technology or whatever in your cars, you know, but I got a patent on it, so anytime you want to use it, I got to get paid off of that. That's a piece of my property inside your vehicle, or let's say a computer chip inside your car, right? Like, well, you know, I got a patent for that, and I own, you know, I have the right to say what you can and can't do with this here, you know, piece of equipment that you have my equipment inside of, you know, because I own the patent for that, right? And now this, you're obligated to follow the rules that I set forth because you chose to use my technology inside of your vehicle, right? Because I have a patent on it, right? I own that. I own the rights to that, right? Once you implement this here computer chip into your car, I pretty much own that. I have the rights to say you can do this and you can do that with it, right? So now let's go into these words. Lord's willing, you're able to follow me with this. And I don't want this video, you know, to get taken down, but you know what the subject is. You know what time it is. All right. Now let's go into this here word, mark, which is charagma. All right. Now listen to this here definition. This is where it's all starting to play out. Remember, there's a patent. All right. They have patents on some of these operating systems that are, how do I say that? They're mingling inside of their, what do we want to use? Their little, you know, mixtures that they're freely handing out, right? It says a stamp imprinted, a mark, a stamp, an imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead of the right hand as a badge of the followers of the anti-Hamashiachs, or as is written here, the Antichrist. It says a mark branded upon horses, just like when you go out to these cow pastures and you see these cows, they'll have a tag in their ear showing who they belong to, right? These are my cows. This is my mark on the cow, so you can identify who they belong to. You can't do anything with my cows without my permission because I own them all, right? Now, if those cows tend to have babies, I own those babies because these come from my cows, right? Let's go down. It says a scratch or etching, a stamp, a badge of servitude, right? Let's go further into this here word, all right, to the word karax. It says from karaxo, to sharpen to a point. It says a pale or a stake or a palisade, all right? Now, and this is going into how things are pretty much, how do I say, implemented inside of you, all right? Now, if you could think about how they have certain, little things that they can take and inject certain things inside of you, this is what it's going into, as far as detailing how this here mark will be implemented, right? Now let's go a little bit further. It says, going into the word grapho, it says to write with reference to the form of the letters. It says, let me see. There was a different one. To grave, to write. Basically, oh, here it is. D, to write to one by writing in a written epistle, to give information or directions, right? So to go back into this here word grapho, all right, you have what they call, they have a thing called, like, let's just say, well, we're not going to use that word. Basically, the information or the context to, how do I say, give the information on something, right? If you want to give you, like your car has a VIN number, right? You can type in that VIN number and it'll give you all the information on their car, right? So it's the same thing. Now, going into this thing that's going to be scratched or etched into your skin through something sharpened to a point, like a palisade, to scratch it to the skin, and then also to create a record of things, right? Now, you have these quote-unquote validation passports that they're talking about, right? Let's go back. Let me go back one more time. All right, going into the word stigma. All right, it says to stick, to prick. All right, now listening to this. Again, remember about this here patent situation. All right, and listen to the words they're using. To stick, to prick, to engrave, to cut into the skin. All right, as a mark to show who owns these things, right? So again, when you're going into a patent, that's what a patent is, to show forth who owns this idea or material or property of, right? It says a mark pricked in or branded upon the body, all right? And you see what they're trying to, you can put two and two together. To the ancient Oriental usage, slaves and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their master, commanded, branded, or pricked, cut into their bodies to indicate what master or general they belong to, or i.e., this is the same thing that a patent is for, right? To show you who owns the rights to this here object or whatever it is, you know what I mean? So it says, and they were stamped, and they were even some devotees who stamped themselves this way with the token of their God. So again, it's going into, let me read this Strong's definitions. Stick or to prick, a mark incised or punched for recognition of ownership, figuratively a scar of service. Right, so again, somebody is to put some of their patented material or patented devices inside of you, they own that their patent, and then, that becomes that property. So again, if I were to patent or brand a cow or something like that, I own that cow and everything that comes from it, and I have the rights to do with that cow as I please, right? And we see these things being rolled out today, all right? So again, putting two and two together, all right? Whereas there's things that's going to be etched, scratched, cut into the skin with the stake or a palisade, all right? Something akin to something like a syringe, right? With some type of patented material inside of there, all right? Now you become a property of the person who owns that patent, all right? If you're following what I'm saying, just like this definition said, they show forth what master or general that you belong to, as a token of who your God is, who you're gonna basically follow after. All right, you're gonna have to go to the one of all needs. Just like a cow that's branded, he's gonna go to his owner for food and water and hospitality and things like that because he owns him, right? Now, let's go to. We'll close out with this. I just wanted to bring that portion out because it's more and more of this information is coming out with this new technology. You still have people that are wondering about this and that, but now the more information that they're talking about is further exposing that the apostles on down from Great Millstone had this correct the whole time. All right, let's go to Isaiah 19. Not Isaiah 19, Isaiah 30. It says, "Woe to the rebellious children, saith Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me." All right, so now look, you're listening to these people that are on the news and everything else like that, Dr. Fake Ass, and so on and so forth, just because they put the word doctor in front of there, people believe in all these things and stuff like that, man. All right, but nevertheless, like the scriptures say, "Busted your eyes will see the things that you see." All right, our eyes are open to these things. We're not drunk, drunken in the daytime. We're sober. We understand the things that's taking place. It says to take counsel, but not of me, that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. So if you're adding a covering, but it's not of the Most High's spirit, whose covering are you covering yourself with? All right, you got one or two sides. It's either this side or that side. So you have to understand, who's putting their mark upon you. Now, when we read in Ezekiel chapter 9 and verse 4, it talks about a different mark, a mark of exemption. All right, showing forth to who you belong to. Revelation 7. All right, it's going forth showing that there's going to be a mark, a different type of mark. All right, it's going to be placed upon the foreheads of the 144,000 and the 1/3, and they're going to show forth that they belong to the Most High. But now you have somebody else that's pushing forth a different type of mark, showing showing who you belong to, right? Verse 2: "That walk to go down to Egypt and have not asked in my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt." So right now, a lot of these people are lining up and going to their God, their power, to give them life, to give them freedom, to give them a so-called, how do I say, a peace of mind that they're going to be all right out here, man. All right. Verse 2 again: "That walk to go down to Egypt and have not asked in my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion." All right, so hey, it's not going to be far-fetched if one day, hypothetically, you didn't put this here computer chip into your car that you didn't build from ground up, but you put somebody else's patented technology inside of your vehicle. Now they come and seizing their property and telling you what you can and can't do with it because, look, man, you put this here a piece of their technology that they own inside of your vehicle. Now, guess what? They own that property, man. All right. So, hey, and if they own their property, you got to understand who these people are. All right. This is, being forced out by, the scripture saying, Job 9:24, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. All right. So who's ruling the earth right now? Who's implementing their marks right now? All right. So, hey, who do you belong to? The devil, or do you belong to the Most High? All right. You have to, as these things are being made manifest and clear to you, you have to take these words serious. It's not just a bunch of words on the paper, but this is living waters, man. All right. It has life unto it. More and more, as the days go by further, these things are coming more and more alive, man. We're seeing how these things are being implemented. All right. So going back to that mark of ownership, all right, going into, also these patents, all right, and then putting patented technology in certain places. All right, they wind up owning those places where their patented technology is at. All right, so Lord's willing, you were able to decipher what was being said through the Spirit, like I said, because they like to strike down our videos for misinformation and things like that. But nevertheless, this is on their websites. This is what the hell they saying. All right, but nevertheless, we're just pointing out through the Spirit, and we're warning the children of Israel about these things. All right, so Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you out here pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to be and edify the elect. Until next time, I say stay strong. Shalom.